Good morning, friends. Welcome to Gardening with Creekside. Today we are going to be chasing the shade because we are currently in a very warm spell, hot heat wave, as most of you are. A lot of us in the south and other parts of the country, we're experiencing really high temperatures. And so today I still have garden projects that need to be done, but I'm going to really kind of chase the shade. Here we are in front of our shade garden. This is right along our driveway. So you can see I have the tractor bucket. That is going to be my machine of choice today. So there is our driveway. You can see the daylily row back there, or our front yard. And so this whole area is what I call our shade garden. Now, it is our shade garden, but it does get a couple of hours of early morning sun. It's 8 o'clock in the morning. The sun is just starting to peek through the trees. So I am going to work starting above the Ariella Sun King. There is actually a hay rack underneath that window. Then there is one underneath here. This is kind of like our big window where our kitchen table is. So we're going to do that one next. And then up against the wall right here, you will see that I have another rack. And so that we're going to kind of work that way so that we can stay out of the sun, because it is extremely hot. And the humidity, if you're in the south, it is the heat and the humidity that gets to you. Brent and I have only been out here for, I don't know, maybe 45 minutes, just emptying the containers and getting all the soil out. And we are already glistening, and the tongue is hanging out low and she is panting. So I want to show you really quickly, give you a little tour of this garden before we get started so that you can kind of understand my thought process on how I'm going to plant all three of these containers. We have visited this garden many times before, and you have been along with me on the journey with this garden. Everything that you see in here right now are all perennials. They have just exploded over the past couple of years and are doing fantastic. I will tell you, I have done no maintenance in this bed this year so far. So yes, you can see my lovely weeds. They need to be taken care of. I need to move like Bashful Betty right here. So this is a piece from Unique Stone. She is called Bashful Betty. My grandmama, my beloved grandmama, her name was Betty. And so when I saw Bashful Betty, I just had to have her in my garden. So I need to move her a little bit because she's kind of getting swallowed up by the hostas. We need to move her somewhere. But basically in this bed, and I will link the past videos that we have done so you can kind of get an idea of specific names and everything. But there's tons of hostas in here. We've got hostas. This is one of my favorite. This is called White Feather because it's a very white one. You can see that it is blooming. We have got eucharis in here. The evening gown. We've got gorgeous ferns. This is Dre's Dagger. We had this years ago at the nursery, and so it has done really well. Of course, my lovely weeds. My zebra hydrangea is just now getting ready to bloom. Zebra got its name because it has those black stems, and then it will have pure white blooms on it. So really fun. My bleeding hearts are just, you can tell, they're huge, right? And I've got pulmonaria. This is spot on. Lots of hostas again. Golden tiara. I've got holly fern. This is what I affectionately call Annette's holly fern because this came from my sweet friend Annette in Texas when we visited her. I said, can I please take a part of your fern home with me? And she was like, of course. So this is a traditional holly fern, but in my book it's called Annette's holly fern. We have a Kimberly Queen fern that is in this container. We're going to work on that today because it is not potted. It is literally placed in there, but I need a big pop of color, and that fern is still too green, so we're going to switch that out. And then really kind of the showpiece of this bed is the Ariella Sun King. It is a spikenard. There are 2 plants in here. And I will say also, this bed is not on irrigation, so that gives you an idea. It's huge. They're both really big. So we have, this is one here, and then one over here. And they have gotten huge. I probably should take both of them out and just have one, but I'm not going to. I love how they look, and they're gorgeous. And you can see right there is the window box hay rack right there. So we're going to plant that. And then this is the Diva hydrangea from Proven Winners. It is a beautiful, huge lace cap massive blooms on it. The petals on it are just massive. You can see we have a friendly little pollinator right there. And then lots of buds are still on that and gonna do well. This is an area that needs a lot of love. You remember we did the white by the gate camellia right here, and I moved, separated and moved to the ghost ferns. I have one here and one here. I never got mulch on it. I mean, like y'all, this is real life here. I'm just showing you how it is. This needs a lot of attention. I don't think we're gonna get to it today. I'm gonna come back when I'm in the shade. And then this sweet beauty, man, I have been so happy with how well she has done this year. This is the Starlight from Proven Winners. Gorgeous lace caps on it. It is pH dependent, so you can see with our acidic soil how it is nice and blue, and it's starting to get a little purple in some of those petals. So it just is an absolutely gorgeous plant, doing really, really well. Super excited about it. And then it is flanked by the Solomon seal on each side. Well, not probably, it does. It needs to be thinned out. I will do that this fall because that'll be a great time to do it. But it's just kind of the Solomon seal, which is great, but it naturalizes. And when it gets to be this established, you really need to divide it like once a year. And then of course, to give you a little perspective, our front porches right here. Everybody's doing great. The hanging baskets are just beautiful. Fantastic color. Now, let's talk about what we're gonna do on these 3 containers that are gonna make a big, huge impact. Alrighty, so Brenna and I went over to the nursery and we got a tractor bucket full of caladiums, because that is going to be my plant of choice for the 2 main hay racks that are on the house. I am going to fill them up with the same caladium because I don't have any, I need to go up, I don't need to go down, because the hay racks have kind of disappeared as the perennials have grown up. So we are going to fill them up with this absolutely gorgeous, I love this caladium. It might be my favorite. It is stunning. Say hello to Fast Flash. This is one of my favorite caladiums because it has all the colors, right? And it makes a huge, bold presence. It has beautiful green edges. It has kind of a reddish center. You could either go red or you could go pink. And then it has the definite little pink speckles in it. Gorgeous plant in mass. So we are going to fill both of the hay racks that are on the house with this stunning Fast Flash. So stinking excited about it. And then in the container that has the Kimberly Queen Fern, I think I'm going to use a Newly Noir, and then I'm going to use Bottle Rocket. So be a little bit different, but I think it'll complement each other quite nicely. A little white against that dark Newly Noir will be really fun. And then I couldn't help myself. I had to grab some Terenia. This is the Catalina, let me get it right, White Linen. This is such a versatile plant, sun or shade. It is a trailer, and I might stick this in the planter that's on the side of the wall of the garage where I'm going to put some other stuff, because that container can handle something that trails. Our first order of business though is this hay rack that is right here in front of my kitchen sink. I'm going to tell you that my method of planting is not my recommended method. I was trying to find a ladder and nobody could seem to find a ladder. Everybody else is up potting mums today. Nobody could find a ladder, so Jenny had to get creative when I was emptying all the containers. And so I'm going to recommend this not to be done unless you're a professional like I am and have lots of experience with tractors and acrobats. And yeah, so we're going to do a little gardening gymnastics here. But I'm going to take the Fast Flash, and I've got them in the quart size containers because I can, the way it's shaped, I can fit it in there a little bit better. And I'm going to fill it full of the Fast Flash in the quart size containers. So I'm going to film that as I plant. I'm not going to talk about it because you'll understand why in a minute. And then when I'm done, then I'll tell you all about it. But in all 3 of these containers, I did my method of the bottom 1/3 has the compost in it, and then the rest of the 2/3 has high quality, well draining potting soil. So very great tip to use that compost on the bottom, then your potting soil on top. It makes a world of difference. So I'm gonna get everything set up, and I'm gonna get this planted, and then we'll come back and chit chat with each other. Okay guys, so that actually worked out really well to use the tractor bucket as my ladder to get them planted. I ended up putting 5 of the quart size Fast Flashes in there. Now Fast Flash can get 18 to 24 inches tall. So if you're looking at it and you're like, well Jenny, all you see is a little tiny pop of color. Be patient, friends, it will come along. Caladiums absolutely love this weather. While I might be melting and sweating and just being a puddle, they think this is like heaven for them because caladiums thrive in the high temperatures but the high humidity. They do not grow well, and actually they stop growing when the nighttime temperatures or daytime temperatures get to be like 50 or below. Last night it was 11:30 at night and it was still 80 degrees. I woke up this morning at before 6 and it was 76 degrees. Humidity is high, dew point is high. These guys, I am literally gonna be able to watch them grow before my very eyes as I'm sitting there washing dishes. So they are gonna do great. Just imagine this huge, like, balloon shape of all this color above that Sun King. It is going to be stunning. Now what we're gonna do is turn our attention to the long narrow hay rack that is in front of our kitchen table window. Again, I am going to fill it full of the Fast Flash, but I am going to use the 8-inch containers as opposed to the quarts, because I use the quarts because just of being able to arrange them so that they looked good in the beginning. So it's just a size thing, what fits best. I think I'm going to put I'm probably going to put 5 more of the big ones in this container, and basically it's the same thing. Your bottom third of your container is compost, your top 2/3 is full of your great quality potting soil, and then once everybody's planted, then I come back and I top dress with compost again. Once everybody's done, of course, I will come back and water, but yeah, there goes Brenna. She's chasing a squirrel, and Sun's there. We're gonna move and get this planted, and then I might pop back and get this before we do the wall right here in front of me. I'm gonna come back and get this guy. But anyway, we're just popping around today. Yeah, a little breeze. Feels great. We're gonna get this done, folks. All right, my friends, 2 of the 4 containers have been planted. I want to show them to you up close. So they were planted with both of them with just the Fast Flash Caladium. They were topped off with the great compost and then really well watered in. That's a huge thing that I have to say is when you're planting in this extreme heat like I am today, you want to make sure that your plants are extremely well watered going into the day with a fresh planting. So because these are basically like, you know, they're cocoa lined hay racks, and they can dry out faster than if they were in like a ceramic container, of course, right? Cocoa just, it dries out faster. So when I was watering, I thoroughly drenched it until I had a good steady stream of water pouring out of both of this one and then the one over there by the kitchen sink. So really saturated in. That means probably tomorrow I don't need to water because the root system is not really developed yet, right? So there's lots of that good extra soil to hold all that moisture in. So tomorrow, more than likely, I will not have to water this. I will probably come back the next day and give it a little shot of water because we're talking about 99, 98 degree weather here today and I believe tomorrow. So I'm gonna flip the camera around and let me show you like what they look like, and then we're gonna talk about the blue pot that we're gonna plant next. So here you go. You can see that the, well, there's my shadow, sorry, that the hay rack is actually still dripping water. That's a really good sign. I got all of these wrought iron planters. There's 3 of them. I got them all from Kinsman Garden Company. I will put a link in the video description. Not affiliated with the company whatsoever. I just love their products. They are high quality and doing fantastic. So you'll see here where the zebra hydrangea is just, it's so high that there's no point in putting anything that trails over. Let me show it from a different angle. Right, so here you can see that because of the zebra hydrangea, the bleeding heart, even the white feather hosta, it's kind of pointless for me to put in things that are going to trail over because they're just going to get mixed in with the other plants and get hidden. Again, Fast Flash is going to get 18 to 24 inches tall. It is going to be thick and lush and absolutely gorgeous. It's going to make a great impact. And then by repeating that same planting over here with the Sun Kings, above the Sun Kings, again, it makes a huge impact. This is a different shape container. It is like a half circle. And you can see that those 5 are in there. Again, they will fill in really nice. If I can move, let's see if I can move this so you can really see, right? You can see the whole container there and the shape of it. Nice and deep, holds great potting soil. But just imagine when these are both full and lush and you're coming down the driveway and boom, right there you see the same plant en masse that's going to be repeated. And we're actually going to use a Fast Flash in this container right there, so that will repeat all of those. So we'll have that same caladium in 3 different containers, make a huge impact. And I will say that Fast Flash is a sun or shade caladium, so it can do both, which is wonderful. Now what we're going to do is the ceramic blue glaze pot right here. I want it as an accent. That is why I put a blue pot. Let it be a pop of color. We're going to put 1 Nulina ore, and then we're going to put 2 bottle rocket caladiums in there. I don't think I was very successful in chasing the shade because I'm in sun, but that's all right. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the 2 bottle rockets and the Nulina ore in here. The Nulina ore is going to go in the back. Bottle rocket's going to go in the front. Now, if your coleus ever look like this, where they just get too tall, this was in a container, in a tray. They were just going for the sun, so they got too tall. What you want to do is come right above where 2 leaves are, get your clippers, come down and take the top out. It'll branch out, it'll do great. And if you constantly kind of do a little snip with your coleus like that, it'll stay nice and thick and full and won't get too tall and leggy. So great little tip on your coleus. Get these planted, get them watered, get out of the sun. All right, my friends, I'm just gonna go ahead and apologize because I know this is not the best camera angle and it's not the best shot, but Jenny's working by herself and this is a tricky spot to film. So I'm gonna show you what I'm gonna do, and then when I'm done, I'll give you an up close picture of everything. So this is a fantastic hanging wall planter from Kinsman Garden Company. I will put you the name and everything down below, and then you can go to Kinsman and get one for yourself. I love it. It is a beautiful, fun accent because this wall right here is the side of our garage. So when you're coming down our driveway, of course you see the gardens and you see everything, but you do see this big blank wall. And when we were hanging the planter last year, because last year was my first year doing it, it is not centered in the wall, because if it were centered in the wall, it would look off balance from the beds. So it makes more sense when you're coming in and you see the whole big picture, as opposed to if you're only looking at the wall. Now, right now, of course, it is in nice, deep, complete shade, and it will stay that way except for a couple of hours in the late afternoon. It's weird because of our roof line. The sun comes and hits it, and it will be in hot, intense sun. Everything in here is going to be sun. Well, I don't say everything. Sorry. I'll back up. Heat's getting to me. Here we go. The main show of this container is going to be Pegasus begonia. Pegasus begonia is a fantastic foliage begonia, gorgeous colors. It will be 12 to 18 inches tall, and it says part shade to shade. So even, remember, shade is 4 hours or less. So part shade means it can do maybe like 5 hours, as long as you keep it nice and well watered. So this is going to be the centerpiece. All of these are going to be annuals, except for the grass that I'm going to put in. And because of the way this container is shaped, one, I'm too short, so I can't plant it up there. So I have to bring it down to me, and I can't just lay it on the ground, so I have it propped up in this bucket. Again, work with what you got, people, you know. Again, my planter has the compost in the bottom third, and then the top 2/3 is my potting soil. So, work it in here. There we go. And it's going to go in the very back, dead in the center. All right, got it. Now, what we're going to do on the, I think what I'm going to do when you're looking at the container on the left-hand side, I'm going to do, I'm trying to decide which side I'm going to put the caladium and which side I'm going to put the grass. I think I'm going to put the grass on the left side because when the sun comes in, it hits more on the right side, and the caladium is definitely more sun or shade, where the grass is more shade. Plus, it's feather falls and it trails, so it'll come over and look really nice right here. So you'll see more of the trailing habit as opposed to if it were on this side. So see, that's how Jenny's brain works. Sometimes I'll have it exactly how I want it to go, but sometimes I don't. And I just have to work through the process once I get into the space. I think we're all probably kind of that way. Maybe you're a planner, and can make a plan and stick with it. For me, so much of it's situational. Like what does it look like when I start to put it in there? And then what kind of mood am I in? There we go. So the feather falls is really fun. It is a perennial grass, and it is a trailing grass. It would make a stunning hanging basket, like a container just by itself. I could have filled this up with just feather falls, and it would be beautiful. It is going to be hardy in zones 5 to 9, grown for the foliage, and it is a Carex, fantastic part shade. So again, it can do a little bit of sun, which is good. Very, very versatile. We like versatile plants. And then we're going to go back with our Fast Flash Caladium. That way we have that same plant that is repeated throughout this space in 3 different containers. Brings a little continuity to the space. All right, and then get everybody zhuzhed in there, get everybody happy, be nice neighbors with one another. There we go, we're getting there. All right, and then for a little pop of flower power, I did go ahead and go with that Catalina white linen. It is going to be 8 to 16 inches, and it's going to trail, and I'm going to put it in the center. That way it can trail down. Last year I did a dark sweet potato vine, which I went back and forth, do I want to do a sweet potato vine? Love sweet potato vines. They are so adaptable and just really easy to use. But I thought it would be fun to have flowers right here. So we're gonna go with the Catalina white. Terenia. If you don't grow Terenia in your garden, if you don't use it, you really should. Some of them are specifically for shade, and then some of them, like this Catalina, can do sun or shade. Man, they are just, they make great ground covers. I've used it for many years underneath the Starlight hydrangea does great ground cover, and it's a huge pollinator attractor. Like the bumblebees love this thing because they have such big blooms that the bumblebees can get their little fat bodies in there and get all that sweet nectar. All right, it is planted. I'm gonna hang it, and then I'm gonna come back and fill in my pockets with some extra soil, top dress with the compost, because this is not the most stable area. And once it's hanging up, then I can kind of tuck things in a little bit easier. All right, my sweet friends, the morning project is complete. It is only 9:30 in the morning, and I am completely drenched, and Brenna looks like she is done for the day. But I came over here in the shade because it's a lot cooler over here. But it also gives you a whole perspective of the space. And even though those caladiums, those fast flashes are still small, you can still see those pops of color in there, and then the bottle rocket there in the middle. Now, I know the bottle rocket right now is taller than the coleus. That's all right. I know that the coleus is going to catch up. It'll be huge. It's fine. That's just knowing that your plants will catch up and what their mature size is going to be. It's not an issue. But again, this is the most sun that this bed gets early in the morning about this time, so 9:30. You can just see how big the space is. Jackson's walking down the driveway. Brenna wants to say hello. You can see how big that space is, and of course, eventually the idea is that the camellia right here will get nice and tall, but they are slow growers. It's fine. I'm not worried about it. But I think you can see what I'm talking about with this planter being not in the center of the wall. Let's just walk this way. So you can see really, like when we were coming down the driveway, what it looks like. So here I am standing in the middle of the driveway, and that gives you that perspective of it being a little off center. Last year when I planted this container, people had some very strong opinions about where that planter should be. It's my garden. I like where it is. It's staying. That's the great thing. It's your garden. Do what you want to do, right? But again, it's going to be really fun. These are going to fill in, bring lots of good color here, and be so low maintenance. Remember, when you're doing containers, you can keep it simple, right, Jackson? Yeah. Yeah, you don't, he's hot too. He's been doing mums. You don't have to do complicated, intricate mixed containers to make a big statement. Is there anything wrong with that? Absolutely not. I just did one that has, you know, how many different plants in there? Like 5 different plants. I'm not saying you can't have intricate mixed containers. It's not what I'm saying at all. But what I am saying is you can also keep it simple. And by using one plant in multiple numbers, it will make a mass difference. And it will really pop, especially from a distance. So as I move around, you can, again, I just love already, you can see those little reds all over there. So anyway, it's hot, it's early in the morning. I've got some watering to do around the garden, but as always, thanks so much for gardening with Creekside. Y'all have a great day. We'll see you in the next video. Bye, friends.